Hello, and welcome to another edition of Your Bridge to Addiction Resources, a program sponsored and hosted by the Council on Chemical Abuse. My name is Yvonne Stroman. I'm the Community Program Specialist, and this morning we're going to be talking about problem gambling. With me is a special guest, and I'd like her to introduce herself and share with us what her role is within the organization.
Hello, my name is Marcia Goodman, Hinnershitz. I'm the Director of Planning and Resource Development at the Council on Chemical Abuse, and one of the special projects that I oversee is the Problem Gambling Prevention Initiative. It's through a grant from the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs, and the program is designed to prevent problem gambling in Berks County.
So, Marcia, you've been with the Council on Chemical Abuse for a number of years.
Right.
And so can I ask you, in terms of your experience and expertise, addiction as we know it, how has it evolved?
Well, we began with the Council on Chemical Abuse looking at addiction to substances, that being our name, chemical abuse. Mm-hmm. But we understand that addictive behavior doesn't only center around substances. It can be around different issues, such mm-hmm. as gambling. Mm-hmm. And we know many addictions, eating disorders. We look at addiction to gaming. There's just a whole variety of ways that addiction can manifest itself.
Yeah, and so in terms of the problem gambling, you know, I think I shared with you a couple weeks ago, or even last week, the story about the couple that was found in the casino gambling, mm-hmm. Which that isn't the issue as much as they had two children that were in the car in sub-zero temperatures, kind of waiting throughout while they're gambling. Any thought to that? Is that common? Did it shock you at all?
Well, I think first of all, when we have to understand gambling, we have to separate gambling itself, which is anytime you engage in an activity where you're ready to risk something of value mm-hmm. to make a gain. Okay, when that becomes problematic is when you start to neglect the very important things in your life, mm-hmm. your family, your job, your children. And so the situation that happened at the Sands was an example of one of the ways problem gambling can lead to destructive behavior.
Yeah. So, and you're talking about anything that you risk, and you know, risking the welfare of your children mm-hmm. Is problematic. And so, in terms of the gambling grant, what does that cover? Are there training involved for professionals to learn more about problem gambling?
Well, when we look at prevention, we look at a number of different ways that we can prevent gambling. First of all, we have to have what I call common ground and understanding what gambling mm-hmm. is. So people understand addictions to substances very clearly, mm-hmm. but sometimes it's difficult to translate that into addiction when the behavior involves something that's very commonplace in our society. Mm-hmm. And when you just try to look at your own life and the number of times you might have made a choice to gamble. Yeah. Whether it be involved in your church bingo, whether it be buying lottery tickets, whether it be participating in March Madness, all of us are exposed to gambling activities.
Yeah, and when you talk about it in that context, I'm thinking even in terms of, you know, there are games, children's games that involve throwing the dice with mm-hmm. a chance of luck. Mm-hmm. You know, and how many times has, you know, I know when I was growing up, my mother would, you know, send me to the store and give a ticket to mm-hmm. the cashier, and I didn't know it at that time, mm-hmm. but now I know it was to be playing numbers and gambling. And so when we think about the pervasiveness of it, it's bigger than what we really think it is.
I mean, just when you look at how people get obsessed over the Powerball and all the different forms of lottery gambling, and then you look at how many people are engaged in online gaming, mm-hmm. not even thinking about it, with the different games that they might play in their devices. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just so pervasive for our society. But where it becomes problematic is when it becomes so obsessive that you're neglecting your life. Mm-hmm. For instance, you may not be attending to your job, or your studies because you're spending so much time on the computer doing online gaming, or you may be involved so much time as what happened at the Sands, where you forget that you have children. You lock your children in the car and you spend your time in the casino doing whatever kind of gaming you might be doing there. Okay, so that's when it becomes obsessive. And then you neglect your finances because you're spending so much of your earnings on the gambling activities.
So, having said that, what can an individual do that mom or that father or even that young person that might be thinking about, this is a little more than I can handle and I might need to talk to somebody? Is there actual places that individuals can go to have a gambling assessment done or treatment?
Well, first of all, if a person's concerned they have a problem, they can contact us at the Council on Chemical Abuse. Okay? Our number is 610-376-8669. My extension is 112. And talk about the problem. We will refer the individual to Care and Treatment Services for an assessment. They then provide the treatment. Or if the person's not interested in that, let them know where the Gamblers Anonymous meetings are in Berks County. We will connect them with some type of resources, but have them talk through the problem. And a lot of times it's hard to take that first step. There's a lot of shame involved when people think, well, I may have, gone down the wrong road with my gambling.
And how has this work impacted your life at all?
Well, first of all, I've always been aware of gambling being a problem throughout my life. I've been touched by it personally. Okay, so I know the nature of the problem and how it can impact family finances. And I've met a lot of good, strong people in working in this field, with people that have come to me and been able to talk about their involvement with gambling. So for me, it's about creating that awareness and also removing the shame from it, okay? To be able to say, it's okay if you've gotten involved in gambling in a harmful way, but there's a road to recovery too.
Yes, and the support is there. What I'm hearing you say, there's support, and then there's also hope. Because there are times that individuals might think, I'm in the midst of this and I can't see any way out, but the reality is there's help.
And I think it's also important for family members and friends to know if they have someone, a loved one that's gotten involved in gambling in a harmful way, that they can get help too, and there's help for them, just as there is for families of alcoholics and families who have drug use.
And the other thing that, let's just back up for a second too, that I think you talked about, that the community, from a community standpoint, I know that you're working with individuals that are in the community providing prevention, because we all know that intervention services are available, but also it's easier to not start than to have to intervene and try to help somebody get started. Would you say? Oh,
definitely. And we want our young people to understand when they're making decisions how it might lead to a problem with gambling. And that, for instance, when they make decisions to do online gaming, okay, how much money they can lose from that, and that they're never going to really win, so that they're making informed decisions.
Yeah, good decisions. You want them to be very well aware so that they can make the right decision going down the road. So then, as we kind of wrap up, then what would you say is the one key important thing that you really want folks to have taken away from this conversation?
I think it's important for people to know that they have choices that they can make, and to be able to make educated choices so that they can understand what's gambling and what's not, okay? And that it's not that we're making a judgment on their behavior, but if it's starting to impact their lives in a harmful way, there is help available.
Great. Well, Marcia, certainly I thank you for taking the time and coming to talk with us about this very important topic. And for those that are interested in more information, you're welcome to visit us at our website at www.cocaberks.org. Or, as Marcia mentioned, you can contact us at 610-376-8669 and ask to speak with Marcia directly. She can gear you and direct you into the right direction. But in the meantime, I thank you for joining us. This is your Bridge to Addiction Resources. Have a great day.
Check back every week for a new story with your Bridge to Addiction resources. You can call 610-376-8669 or visit online at cocaberks.org. COCABERKS.org. Be sure to like and follow the Council on Chemical Abuse on Facebook and Twitter.